Now, of course, the prices we pay depend partly on where we shop. Two of America's largest grocery store chains are preparing to merge, Kroger and Albertsons, and that deal is worth about $25 billion. The largest grocer in the U.S. by far is Walmart. Kroger is second, then Costco, and Albertsons is fourth. Together, the merger would account for nearly 16% of all grocery stores in the U.S. Now, you might not shop at Kroger or Albertsons, but maybe you shop at a store they own. Kroger's other brands include Ralph's, Mariano's, Dillion's, King Soopers, Harris Teeter, Smith's, and Pick 'n Save. Albertsons companies also include Safeway, Vons, Jewel Osco, Shaw's, Acme, Tom Thumb, and Pavilions. With this merger, Kroger says it plans to invest in lowering prices for customers. Grocery prices are up more than 12% nationwide from last year, and some lawmakers and regulators say this merger would increase consumer costs. So, what is the case for merging, and what could it mean for you? Joining us now is Sarah Miller, founder and executive director of the American Economic Liberties Project. That's a nonprofit focused on the anti-monopoly movement. The organization is publicly opposed to this planned merger. Ms. Miller, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thanks. Thanks so much for covering this really important story.
Of course. Can you tell us in a nutshell why it is that your organization opposes this merger?
Sure. This merger is only good for a couple of parties, and those are the shareholders for Kroger's and Albertsons. As you just covered in your earlier segment, food prices have been on the rise, and profit margins for giant supermarket chains like Kroger and Albertsons, who also own a whole other host of smaller supermarkets all over the country, have really boomed over the last couple of years. So really, the beneficiaries of this merger are the shareholders. They're not going to be consumers. They're certainly not going to be workers. And, at a moment in which the economy is already broadly consolidated in ways that are really harming everyday families who are trying to make ends meet, there is simply no reason that antitrust enforcers should allow this merger to go through.
Elaborate on that a bit. You said these mergers are harming everyday families trying to make ends meet. Give me an example of how that plays out.
Sure. Well, when a supermarket chain has kind of a strong, dominant market position, and supermarket chains are very regional, they're very local. For example, in my neighborhood, there's a Safeway and a Harris Teeter. They're basically across the street, and most consumers wouldn't know those are actually owned by the same parent company. They don't have to compete on price, since there's less competition, right? And so when you see these large chains merging, that essentially eliminates competition, which is fairly straightforward, and allows those companies to exercise that market power in a way that can exploit consumers and can exploit workers and can exploit downstream suppliers and smaller competitors like independent groceries to raise prices across the board in a way that just simply is not beneficial for the public and I think is unlikely to actually proceed in this particular case.
You mentioned competition, and that's the reason why Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota and Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah say that they want the Senate Judiciary Committee on Competition Policy, Antitrust, and Consumer Rights to hold a hearing on this. In a statement, they said that they have to make sure that the grocery industry remains competitive so that American families can afford to put food on the table. But there's competition and then there's competition, right? And I understand competing with the mom and pop shop down the street. But from a macro level, when I think about it, I feel like Albertsons and Kroger, they're not competing with the mom and pop shop. They're competing with Walmart and they're competing with Amazon. How much of this is about those macroeconomic forces as opposed to just big companies that, if Kroger and Albertsons didn't merge, would get swallowed by someone even bigger?
Yeah, well, I think what you see across the economy and in this market too is when you have a handful of dominant corporations, you don't see aggressive competition on price. So I think what we'll expect in the situation too, particularly since groceries are such a regional and local market, that any further consolidation in this area is likely to lead to continued price increases and continued excess profit margins for the parent companies. In this case, I think it's particularly notable that Albertsons is largely owned by two private equity firms that have
Right.
been quite extractive in this case and are seeking to essentially kind of loot Albertsons as a part of this merger so it's in a weakened position competitively. And that would kind of force Albertsons to raise prices aggressively and also to really squeeze its workers and suppliers to make up for that hole in their kind of capital.
I know I have to let you go in just a minute. I know that there is concern that the merged company could divest a number of locations. There's been some reporting from the New York Times on that. So there are concerns about creating food deserts in parts of the U.S. But I got to say, when I walked through Whole Foods the other day, the prices of some of the goods at Whole Foods are better than what I would pay at a lot of grocery stores, and the quality of the food often is better there too. How much of what we pay do we blame on the grocery stores themselves as opposed to suppliers or vendors or marketers or the larger global economy? How do we know where to point the finger before we go?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in areas where there's been significant consolidation, you can look at meat packing, for example, where there's only a handful of firms that process meat and sell that up the chain to the grocery stores. You see much, much higher profit margins. So I think in areas of the kind of food industry where there's significant consolidation, you see the ability to leverage that market power, leverage that middleman status to raise prices on consumers and also squeeze smaller suppliers and squeeze the labor force. So that's what we expect to be exacerbated by this merger. In addition to the likelihood that other stores will be shut down in ways that will further create food deserts all across the country, we're just likely to see higher prices and worse conditions for both downstream smaller suppliers and for workers.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.